My name is Paul Rosales. I teach Heyrosa De Cuerdas. I also teach Serrada Eskrima, Thai boxing, and weapon retention for shooters, and also knife defense. I'm actually born in the Philippines. I was actually born in the Manila hospital. Growing up in the Philippines, it's based on friendship. I got a lot of friends that I can depend on. So it's more like, okay, if I end up going on a fight, I have friends who will back me up. It's normal in the Philippines to be that way. One call, they will be there in 5-10 minutes. While here in the US, it's a little bit different. If you call for a backup, they won't come till the next day. I'm doing this, I'm all the way 2 hours away, that's too far. So those are the main things that I notice. While here, you have to depend on yourself, basically. What happened was my aunt figured out that I was getting bored at home. My aunt actually said, why don't you join your cousin a Taekwondo class and join and see if you like it. And that's when I started doing Taekwondo, and I'm learning how to kick in this. And because I'm very athletic, there was one point, I think it's after 2 weeks of training, I was paired up with a black belt. And every technique he does, he tells me, I'm gonna do this. Then he hits me. I'm like, what the heck is this guy doing? So I did a spinning side kick. I go, I'm gonna teach you. You can't do that. You can't make fun of me. That's what I was thinking, right? And again, you understand, I'm not talking a lot because again, of the accent. So I'm there fighting and he attacked. He mentioned what he's gonna do. I'm like, I'm gonna show you. And I did a spinning back kick, hit him on the solar plex. He goes down. He didn't get up for about a minute. And everybody's like, holy cow, Paul just knocked out a black belt, right? The instructor comes in, Master Kim, he goes, what happened? And he looked at me like, yep, you're very good. So, I want you to stay in class. Then after that, I just continue my class, and I joined also the open competition that any belt you can fight, including black belts. Next thing you know, we're taking trophies. We have, back then they give you big trophies, if you became the champion of your division. And then I'm like, this might be my calling. Then I went to COD, which is College of DuPage. College of DuPage is a program. They have a lot of martial arts that they teach, from Aikido, Hapkido, Tangsudo. There's wrestling back then. So I'm mixing every martial arts I know. And that's how it started, basically. Then I started to learn, there's more than Taekwondo. When I got out of the military, I already got my black belt first degree black belt in Taekwondo under Master Brown from Arkansas. I was stationed at Little Rock, Arkansas. I wanted to go back to Mr. Kim, but by then I'm already first degree black belt. I can't afford it, so I went back to COD. That's when I start going back again to the Aikido, to the Hapkido training, whatever martial arts they have that they're offering there. That's when I started meeting other Filipinos who likes martial arts. We're talking about 20 to 30 people at COD that we go to a cafeteria and we mess around. What have you learned? And then Eugene Amante, who passed away already, we met him. He was the one learning Inosanto. Then I start learning all the arts that Inosanto's program have, from silat to shoot fighting, all those. But I was so confused. I'm like, there's no base. So now there's the exchange of information. I like the FMA. I'm learning Lamenco, the Hiron Largamano. I would probably taste it a little bit of Serrada, not knowing they're all different back then. So what I did, I live in Glendale Heights, which is basically a big Filipino community. I was teaching a lot of people the karate, the Taekwondo I learned. And whatever I learned from our group in COD, I take it to my backyard training. So we went out there on the yard and I go, maybe I'll fish for an instructor. And I start doing sinawali out there, and then my neighbor, Jeff Ramos, comes out. So I knew him. He goes, hey, Paul, you remember me? I go, oh yeah, Jeff, I remember you. We were doing Taekwondo a long time ago before I joined the military. I go, yeah. So you know Filipino martial arts? I go, yeah. I go, do you know what? I go, yeah. So I gave him the stick. Then he started performing Serrada. I'm like, man, this guy's good. So I go, So my student goes, feed him angle one. He's angle one. I can't remember what he did, but he executed. I'm like, man, very good. And then he handed me the stick. Now, show me what you know. And I looked at him, I go, dude, I don't know nothing. I go like that. But I found a master who will teach me. That's how it all started in Serrada. The next thing you know, he knows that I can teach. I started teaching my students. I said, it's okay. He goes, yeah, it's okay. I'll teach you. You'll be responsible for your students. So for some reason, it repeats itself, that scenario. So he teach me privately. And then when I have session with my students, I teach them what he taught me. And suddenly we got bigger and bigger. I dropped everything else. I'm not doing Taekwondo anymore. I'm not hanging out a lot with Eugene doing the multi-system of Inosanto. And then my brother Albert started learning Thai boxing. He goes, Kuya, I gotta show you this. Different. I go, man, that's cool. So we're learning, we already integrating the Thai boxing, and because of Inosanto, again, I got connected to Ajahn Chai. We traveled mostly in the Midwest back then, and being young and being, aggressive, I didn't encounter any other FMAs that give us a big challenge. I mean, again, I'm not trying to be arrogant, but I'm just saying we did travel and we go, what do you know? And then go, that's what he knows, and you want to play? We play. When I say play sparring, not real fight, okay? Not like the way you think in the Philippines, you want to play? That's a fight. No, this is play. And then I'm always thinking, you're not going to offer me anything that I don't already know in Serrada. So I keep looking for something that's going to enhance my Serrada. If you can just match me, I don't want your style. That's basically my attitude. You're there. Not, why will I learn yours? We're just matched. I need something higher that will destroy my Serrada. If you destroy my Serrada, then I'm your student. I didn't find anything from Illinois all the way to Florida. We were doing so well with the Serrada. When I became an instructor under Master Jimmy Tacosa, it's me, my brother Raph, Al, and Ray. All four of us became instructors under Jimmy Tacosa. Our group in Chicago was getting big. So we're talking about 75 students strong. And Jimmy decided he wants to go back to Florida. My brother Ray lived with him for about a year and a half. Then it grew. So they're talking about, in about less than 3 months, they had 25 students already. Then the Serrada start moving down until it hit Orlando and Tampa. Then Jimmy decided he wants to go to Guam. So he left my brother to go to Guam. And our logo was actually, I was thinking that Serrada, Tacosa Serrada. What happened is Jimmy wants to use it for something else. And I'm thinking, Jimmy, we're getting big. Why are you doing that? We are known for that logo. And then that's when I got brokenhearted, because he's taking it to another level. We were not ready for that amount of students, to be honest with you. I think that's what happened. We want to get big. We got big, but we don't know how to handle it. I mean, we're brand new, and we're only one art, Serrada. I didn't know the other ones. I was so brokenhearted, and I decided to leave, and my brothers came along. It was a mutual agreement. So we left the group, and I told all my students, you can either join us or you can stay with Tacosa. It doesn't matter to me. So some of my high-ranking students stayed with Jimmy. Then that's when I moved to Naples. And that's the reason why the transition from Serrada went to Muay Thai. Luckily, when I came to Florida, again, my brother Albert found Crew Voot in Plantation by Fort Lauderdale. We go in there, and Crew Voot saw us, three of us. Probably we were decent, that's why he came. He goes, he held the pad for us. And I kicked that thing as hard as I can. He goes, not hard enough. And I'm thinking, what do you mean it's not hard enough? My students in Chicago, they're crying. I'm putting bruises on their hand. You're saying it's not hard enough? So me, Ray, and Al, we kicked that pad as hard as we can. Crewwood is a small guy, man. He just looks at it and goes, nope, not good enough. And I go, you hold the pad. I held the pad, he kicked. I'm like, holy cow, I need to learn how to kick like that. And that made the transition from Edge and Chai to Kru Vut. Then Kru Vut goes, I teach really fighting. And then that's when I learned there's a United World Muay Thai Association in California. And I go, if I'm gonna learn Muay Thai to fight, this is the guy. And then I followed him in every seminar he goes to. But it's me, my brother Raf, and Al. All three of us, we decide we're gonna go to a seminar. We go in there. Sometimes he teaches the same thing. And next thing you know, after about 6 months of following him, now he's calling us. Hey, Paul, Raf, come over here. Show them how to kick. Show them how to do. So I'm with him now. I'm a nobody in Muay Thai, right? But he has, I think back then, 5 high-ranking instructors. And next thing you know, I'm sitting with them on a table. I have no rank. And they go, who's that? I go, that's Paul. He can sit. So I sat. I'm like thinking, like, what the hell am I here for, you know? But I guess back then, Kru Vut already knew what he wants me to be. My brother, he already knew that those two are going to be fighters. I didn't know that I'm being molded to become a promoter. Now I became a promoter already. I got to the highest point that I can reach in Thai boxing. That means promoter. If you're a fighter, there's categories, right? If you're a fighter, you're on the bottom of the pile. You're actually sweeping the floor. You're the maid of the gym. I made a name because I was being introduced by Kru Vut as a promoter. I'm actually going there shaking hands with champions, Thai champions, and they're bowing to me. And I go, Kru, why is he bowing at me? He's a champion. He goes, no, you're a promoter. You are high ranking than them, except during the fights. On the fight, you become a bucket boy. Unfortunately, Kru Vut went back to Thailand, and I closed my martial arts gym, or my Thai boxing gym, here in Naples, Florida. And probably for a good 4 years, I didn't do anything. I got into running. I was running marathons almost every 2 weeks. When my school closed, I need to have direction again. I stopped running. I'm getting tired of running, doing this, traveling, and let me find an instructor. So here in Florida, I research who I can learn. For some reason, the one that popped up on my search close to me is Garimot with Guro Bait. So right off the bat, I called the number and I told him that, is it okay to show up in his class? And that's how it started. Now I saw a different way of doing Largamano. And I'm thinking like, yeah, an hour and a half to 2 hour drive, not bad. Every other weekend, maybe I'll learn this different style because I'm not doing Thai boxing anymore. And that's how I started again to an FMA because of Garimot. But I wasn't public. I was still hiding. I mean, I wasn't announcing to, back social media is coming out already. I wasn't announcing who I was. I think one of the holidays I went back to Illinois with my family. Suddenly the Escrimador showed up on a film. So I was watching that and I'm thinking like, you remember when I said earlier that I'm looking from the Midwest who can beat Serrada. I'm gonna get in trouble for this. Again, this is my personal journey, okay? So when I saw the Escrimador with the Heyrosa, I'm like thinking, they are about a beat or two faster than my Serrada. So I start showing it to my brothers. He goes, look at this. They look at that like, man, they're fast. We need to find them and see how they play. Because looking at a film is different. So I start my search. I end up going back to the Philippines. My first year, I can't find him. My second year, I went to Cebu. I found his number for some reason. I'm calling him, no answer. And what I did was, my girlfriend back then, I go, hey, do you mind, you use your phone, message GM Owet and see if he will respond. He responded. I'm like, yeah, I got you now. He goes, where are you? And I want to meet you. He goes, he said, I'm in Mandaue. GM Owet was there by a mall. A girl comes out. I'm Monica, and this is Paul. And then I said, I apologize, Paul. I'm actually the one who wants to learn. And they look at me like, what the heck? He goes, what is your intention? What is this? What is that? You know, start grilling me. Luckily, I'm with somebody, right? It made the tension a little bit better. And again, she can talk Bisaya, which make it easier. So I go, hey, you gotta talk Bisaya because, you know, tell him I'm not here to challenge or nothing like that. We went to their house and he was teaching the kids and he goes, show me what you know. I showed him Serrada. I go, oh, you're Serrada. So you know what Serrada? He goes, explain to me Serrada. Oh, it's the closing the door. He goes, show me the cuerdas. And I start showing how I learned the cuerdas, you know, stick to stick, hand to hand, right? I go, no, that's not the cuerdas. And I'm thinking again, no, I was taught the right way. This is the cuerdas. He goes, no. Then that's what he started explaining to me what the meaning of the cuerdas. And from that point on, I became very impressed of how fast he was. At first he was playing me. He goes, do this, do that, let's go play. So I'm blocking Serrada. I'm blocking every single thing that he gives me. And I'm thinking like, is that all? I thought you were fast. You know, that's in my mind, right? So I go, I'll up the notch a little bit. I go, okay. So I start coming faster. I still can pick it up because of our lock and block and flow drills. I pick it up. But when he started going faster, I'm getting hit 3 times. I have no clue how to block them. And I'm thinking like, how did you do that? I go, well, this is Heyrosa. But I was so amazed and I said, can I learn again for 3 more days? I'm here in Cebu for a week. And he goes, yeah, just come back tomorrow. I was there probably 6 hours with my girlfriend back then. And I think that made it easier to be accepted. Here's the key though, he's a hermit. He doesn't expose himself too much to anybody. You need to find him. So after I left, I said, I'll be back next year po to learn again. Sure. Next year, can't find him. Gone. So luckily, one of his high-ranking student, Bon Chow, started working in France. So because of Facebook, I saw him. I go, hey, I am so-and-so. I'm trying to look for GM Owet because I want to learn. Can you tell him or tell me where he's at? I'm going back to the Philippines. I want to see him and train. Right off the bat, he was defensive. He goes, who are you? Why, what is your purpose? What is this? He's grilling me. I go, GM Owet doesn't usually take students. I don't know what you're talking about. So I said, I will show you proof. So I start sending him pictures and videos of me being taught. Then he calmed down. He goes, okay, I will talk to GM Owet. Then GM Owet now is living by the ocean in Liluan. So I got access again to see him. And I think that's the time that he realized that it's time to give the art to the next generation. And because he already met me from before, again, he learned from Heyrosa, but Heyrosa learned from Anchong Bacon and Nene Rosales. My last name ended up to become Rosales too. So actually the first time I met him, he thought I was related to Nene Rosales, but I wasn't. That kind of make it also easier for him to accept me. That's when yearly I start going back. So sometimes I will go back to the Philippines 2 or 3 times a year. That's how I got into the Heyrosa. Learning FMA, there's also history that I want to learn. So it became a whole package, not just skill set. So I asked him, can you tell me where it came from? He always stops with Heyrosa, his story. Oh yeah, I learned from Heyrosa and this and that. I go, well, I need to know where past that. So I look at videos. There's a Heyrosa small videos out there, but no connection on where he learned. Now when he tells the story, he basically said, Anchong Bacon and the Heyrosa family are neighbors. So actually Heyrosa is learning backyard from Anchong Bacon. And basically from there, Anchong Bacon was showing him different way of hitting. Look at Heyrosa and look at Balintawak, very different. I can't see where the connection of the two, right? Because all we're doing is a lot of weak ticks and fanning and whatnot. I go, I don't see that on the tapes or anything of the balintawak? He goes, no, because it came from, the art came from Anchong Bacon's sister with its commander Ligaya. That's why there's a lot of fanning. It's actually the Anchong Bacon's family art. This is what GM Owet was telling me. And then from there, Heyrosa started teaching, and GM Owet was doing a combat judo and whatnot, karate again, and he met GM Heyrosa, and he goes, have you seen Filipino martial art? He goes, what's Filipino martial arts? It's like the same story most of the time, right? This is what's funny about FMA. Oh, it's always like, what is FMA, right? And then next thing you know, he said, I was on the ground. He told me to strike this old man as hard as I can. I hit him, and I was on the ground. So when that happened, he started liking Heyrosa De Cuerdas, and he became a student and moved his rank from student all the way to instructor. But from my understanding is they have it worse than me. He said he will get hit on the shoulders because that's the target. He will have marks. The bad thing about that is because getting hit so at the same spot so many times, it will swell and then it will burst. Now you have wounds and you're sitting there at home. He goes, I don't even know if I want to go back tomorrow. It hurts already, right? Do I go back? But because he wants to learn, he keeps coming back. And then that's when Heyrosa figured out, this guy can take the shot. I should teach him more. And then eventually it was passed to him, the art. Actually, there's two people that was passed, GM Owet and another GM in the family of the Heyrosa. So there's actually two GMs. But my understanding, again, it's always skill set, even though they're the same rank. They knew who knows more, which is GM Owet. And then from there, his students from the Escrimador showed up. Then I showed up, and that's how the lineage kind of link. But I learned straight from GM Owet. And I met him when he's a little bit more giving. And I think he's more mellow. I guess right now he's in the stage in life that he just want to pass it on so it doesn't die. Your hand now is going to be hitting, practicing power. I asked him, is there a way I can bring some of my students? Because again, I still teach Serrada on the side, but not full time. And I'm planning to take them with me. I said, can I teach my brothers? Bring my brothers here so all of us can train. Basically, he said, no, I will teach you. You teach the rest who you want to learn. So the blessing was already there to begin with. The rank, having the rank wasn't there. But whatever he taught me, he said, I can reteach that to my brothers or to my students. So it's already given. Formality-wise, probably 2-3 years ago, I already got the blessing to teach, to become an instructor, but no certificates. No formal saying, you get the rank of this. No, it's understood that I can teach. And everybody in the group knows that too. Everybody in Cebu, all the members of the Heyrosa, all of us have no papers. Heyrosa is different. Regardless of your rank, when we play, the rank goes away. It's all skill. So when we practice and where we spar, if you're the, let's say, considered senior instructor, a new student can beat you. You can't get mad. So the skill set is based on how much you put in on training. When GM Owet came to Heyrosa, the senior instructor of Heyrosa was assigned to teach GM Owet. But GM Owet learns so fast, he surpassed the delegated instructor, right? Now, GM Owet became GM, he became an instructor, GM Owet just passed him. So you figure, how can that be? He's been there longer. It's because of the skill set again. But in Heyrosa, it repeats itself. Nobody gets mad. Oh, well, it's based on skill set, not time. But of course, respect is still given because they've been there for a long time. But when we touch stick, skill set needs to be put. So people now are going, who's the best? Let's say in our little group, we know who the best is. Does his rank match? No. But we know. Our group know who's the guy. We knew GM Owet was ill. Time will tell when. Well, when I first finally met him, he probably sick already, but not very sick. But gradually I can see that he's not getting better. Then I found out, what he has, and I'm telling him, you probably want to look at really giving us the art. It's hard to have this hard talk to a GM because number one, you don't want them to think that you're trying to take it, right? Oh, give me the art so I become GM, right? So it's a fine line of asking, will you give me everything that you know to us? There's 7 of us, from my understanding from what GM was saying, every single one of us, he gave expertise. Basically, in Heyrosa, there's 7 stars. You'll see a 7-star in our logo. Those are 7 different, it's not techniques, styles that you need to learn. So you need to master all 7. For some reason, there's 7 of us. All 7 of us knew all the 7 styles. It's just one is more expert on one. And if you want to get better at that, you have to go to that person. It's almost like a Chinese movie, right? So how did he do this? Most of the time, we sit down and he goes, here's what I want you to do. Here's the principle. The beauty about his Heyrosa De Cuerdas, as soon as was given to you orally, you need to execute it in play, in combat, in sparring. And then when you get that, he brings you again, he goes, I need you to add this. Or if you can't do that, here's the counter for that. Then it becomes a pile of information. And that's how it was being passed to us. Because GM Owet, the way he tells us, I'll teach you this, but if you found a counter, we will figure out how to counter that. And it becomes ours, a new thing. We're coming up with new things. Again, the advance in training is becoming better. We have other art now that are being inserted. There was no names on what's being taught to us. It's basically do this, do that, go here. If he does this, you do this. I came to the US, I start teaching here in Mackle Park. I go, do this, do that, do that. My student goes, I don't understand it. And I think that's one reason why Serrada is very popular, was systematized. It's, you know where to go, over here, right? Heyrosa, there's none. So now I start creating names for it. So I said, well, when we block in Heyrosa, we do this. Well, what is that? I'm like, looks like I'm opening a window. Open, close, open. So I made an open, close, am I right? Then I start doing wiper, start doing figure 8. And then next thing you know, I contact GM Owet. I go, hey, is this okay? And he goes, what are you talking about? Well, I put a name on this. The guys that are longer than me, they didn't get mad. They said, yeah, Paul, go for it. As long as it's positive for the group and for the Heyrosa, go for it. Just don't change anything. You're just changing name, but you're not changing the style. And that's the beauty of it. It was open. As long as, again, I showed the respect, telling them, is that okay? So it helped me to teach. Honestly, June with Tabuada Balintawak helped me a lot to understand Heyrosa better. So we talked about lineage. I think it's connected to Balintawak because now I'm seeing patterns that the angles that I'm coming and all the techniques that you guys are doing. But I go, yeah, it's there. I see it. The question now is I need to learn more of the Balintawak so I can put that into my Heyrosa. It's already there, but I don't know where. Because for us, it's situational. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, we don't chase for it. Is GM Owet getting mad because I'm mixing the tabuada? No. He said, go for it. Now, it's our job now that if you do that, I need to find a counter. It's the same lingo that Bobby Tabuada and GM Owet is preaching. So Again, we go back to the question, did we get everything? Probably not. He's probably still developing other technique there, which probably is still in the phase of development. But because he passed away, we don't know what they are. So actually, our progression right now, that's why if you go look at my videos, you go, how can you be Heyrosa? Well, when the Escrimador came out, they're like this. Why, when you move, is so different? Remember, we took one out. We replaced that. It's up to you to decide what that is, but you'll see it on film. And when we fight, now it doesn't look the same as the old Heyrosa. But for some reason, people, when they associate Heyrosa, they still see the old way. In reality, it has changed already. We asked GM Owet long time ago, why don't you put your name on it? Don't use Heyrosa anymore. He goes, I promised the Grandmaster that I will continue his legacy. Okay, fine. Then we said, well, but GM Owet, if you look at the film of Heyrosa to where we're at now, it's only 10%, the 90% you develop. He goes, yeah, I know, but still, it's not my art. It's Grandmaster's art. That's the respect that's missing a lot in FMA. Actually, in the last document, he said, or before he passed away, he did talk to all 7 of us and said, do not change the name. And I said, yes, whatever you wish, we'll keep the Heyrosa. So what we did now, so we'll be able to use the Heyrosa because it's not our name. We actually went to the family of Heyrosa in Cebu and we asked permission if we continue the legacy. The family accepted. They go, fine, you got our blessing, use our last name.
Palm up to palm down. Palm up.
FMA as a whole, I just want to make sure that we have the quality that's being put out there. I always preach, become a good instructor. I actually was taught, regardless of art, Taekwondo to where I'm at now, all the art that I learned, I was actually told by every single one of them, teach them the right way, don't hide anything. Because at the end of the day, they might not get everything anyway. But at least in your heart, you're giving it the right way. Don't hide anything. So that's my goal, is to make sure, not just me, but I relay to all instructors out there to teach correctly, to teach it the right way. There's always a debate here in the US. Why do I need to go to the Philippines to learn? Well, FMA is not only fighting, it's mixed with culture, belief, the supernatural. If you don't understand those, you're only getting a part of FMA. It's different. It's not, I know it's a fighting art. If you're in battle and combat, it's just a fighting art. But culturally, it is a blend of all those. It is not just fighting. Just imagine you're in World War II. We talked about earlier when you asked me what's the difference between Philippines and the US, right? In fighting, you have to rely on your buddy, on your comrade to save you. If you're fighting, let's say there's a 7-man team in the jungle and you're fighting a whole platoon of Japanese. So you need to understand, how do you develop this camaraderie? You need to learn the other beliefs or friendship that comes along with the art. We see this in the military, right? I can't leave my buddy. You need to get that bond. It's not all about fighting. My goal is kind of educate a little bit. Don't look at it as just learning how to defend yourself. There's other aspect in it. The biggest question in FMA is, I grew up in the Philippines. We need a chicken, we go to a country and grandma goes, kill the chicken. I address that sometimes. I go, how many people in FMA right now, they go, oh, this is combat, this is this, this is that. My question to you is, have you even killed the chicken before? Have you killed a pig? Have you killed a goat? This is food consumption. This is not being, cruelty to animals. Those are food. I've done it. I've learned it. A lot of people talk about, well, the right way to hit is this way. Well, have you been out in the woods and really chopped wood? If you haven't, your skill set is incomplete. In the Philippines, they do that. They go, you want to learn how to chop wood? Let's go, I'll teach you. How can that instructor or that lolo or your grandparent teach you. You need to have a good relationship first before he'll. And the same thing what's going on in FMA. I want to make sure that they understand it's not a dying art in the Philippines. It's hidden because they want to give it to the people that they want it to give. There's people out there now in the Philippines, it's their way of living. So you'll find them, you pay them, they'll teach you. The question I asked, are you sure you're getting the right training? Or is it just the basic training, beginners? Are you getting that next level skill set? There's family art there that they will choose where to give. Heyrosa is the same. In reality, there's only 7 of us. My biggest challenge right now, do I keep it small so I can make sure it's quality? Or do I make it big? How do it's the balance of sharing. I don't want to get it too big that you lose now the essence of what is FMA with the culture, beliefs. I just want to make sure it's a whole package, just not the fighting technique. I only teach private. I don't teach in a class setting. Right now, because of the COVID, you can there's an HDC distance learning program that in Facebook that you can join. Make sure you guys answer the questions to join because I will not accept you if you don't answer or agree to the terms and conditions. That's number 1. That's how you can find me. So that's the only way. Now, unless you're in Florida, if you're traveling to Florida, you can contact me and we can schedule a class. But normally, if you live around my area, it's 10 sessions, mandatory. I don't teach, tikim or try, I'll make you try it if I know you're traveling, but other than that, if you're close by, you won't understand the art if you just take one class. You need to really get in there to really understand because it's ruining the name if I teach you one class and then I let you go. Then you go, well, yeah, I learned from Paul. He's what he taught, and it's crap. And you mean that's Heyrosa? You didn't only ruin my name, but you also ruined everybody's name, including all the way to the Grandmaster, the late Grandmaster himself. So I don't like that. Based on what I've learned from all these Grandmasters and crew, one thing I stick to my mind is this: find a quality instructor. They don't need to be a GM, they don't need to have titles, but as long as it's quality, pay the dues. If it's money, time, commitment, go 100% because your learning is going to be faster versus a person who's being cheap. I'm not saying, but you're the one who can only decide what is quality. I will say get into the roots. If you can learn from where the source is, go learn from the source. I traveled to the Philippines to see GM Owet. I sacrificed time, effort to learn. If you really want it, you'll find a way. Finding a way. So in the Philippines, there's a saying, kung gusto mo, may paraan. Kung ayaw mo, may dahilan.